Hi everyone, welcome to Potluck.
Have you had any? Are you a fried chicken man? You a regular fried chicken enjoyer? As you can probably guess, the topic for today is fried chicken.
I wouldn't trust anyone who isn't, except if you're vegan or have some religious restriction, but otherwise you have to love fried chicken.
I think so. I mean, fried chicken is kind of weird, no? Because it's not like it's really part of any of like your or my like food culture, but still it's like this sort of quintessential, very regular craving that like we just have, or I have anyway. Um,
Well,
yeah, I
In
think
Venezuela, as part of the Caribbean, there is a lot of fried chicken or of chicken being fried. And there was like this restaurant chain. I think it's original from Canada. It's called Arturo's, and that's like a classic in Venezuela minds. Everybody remembers that fried chicken at some point.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm personally for a couple of years now, like a little bit obsessed with fried chicken. I don't really know how it started, but I think about eating fried chicken probably 4 to 5 days out of the week. I don't actually eat fried chicken 4 to 5 days in the week, um, but it's something that I could eat, like every second day easily, easily.
You have any memorable ones?
Yeah, I mean, I can think of a couple. I can think of a couple, and it's kind of annoying because like if you think of like a memorable sort of experience, you kind of want it to be, like if when we were talking about tortilla, it was easier because you can talk about these mythical places in the mountains where some old women were making tortilla. But with fried chicken, like if I think of the best fried chickens that I've had, the first one that comes to mind is the chicken karage in 7-Eleven in Japan, which was just, so incredibly like convenient. And you get it on the counter, right? The counter, they have these little hot boxes where they literally just take some fried chicken out, put it in a paper bag. They have different kinds. They have one that's loose bits, and they have one that's like on a stick, which is like a tenderloin on a stick, and it's just incredibly delicious. It's just as if somebody had injected that chicken with super tasty juice and fat.
I've heard for karage the chicken is marinated in koji.
I don't know about that. I feel like that must be, I don't think that's like the traditional way to do it. Like for me, karage is mainly chicken that's either marinated or not, but the main part is that it's coated in katakriko, in potato starch, and then fried,
And there
which
is
is a
not
big difference.
no brine at all for karage.
I don't think like you can definitely do it. Like I've seen recipes where they pre-marinated with like a little bit of light soy and aromatics, but it's like I don't think it's necessary, it's not sort of like southern fried chicken where you brine it or you marinate it in buttermilk or you do something like that. I think often it is marinated, but it's more like a flavoring rather than a tenderizing, from what I've seen anyway. But then again, karage is usually sort of like popcorn chicken. It's not often big pieces of chicken. It's usually like bite size.
Yeah.
So yeah, second fried chicken for me in my top three would be a chicken that I had in Berlin, actually, in a Korean restaurant, which is near Tiergarten. It was in this like I couldn't even tell you the name of the place,
This is
but
no angry chicken, so angry.
no, 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 not at all. It was this nameless place, and it was like a big cafeteria. And apart from like many other sort of like dishes that we ate, they brought out a huge plate of fried chicken. And again, it was like something so simple. It was just blowing my mind because each piece of chicken was like half of it was chicken, and the other half of it was like liquefied umami chicken jelly inside of like a crackling crust. And this was like just like 2 3 years ago. So I had already spent like a very considerable amount of my life cooking, and I was eating this chicken and I could not understand how they were getting this result. Like, it was amazing. And it was super, super delicious. And the third place in my top 3 has to go to Raising Cane's. You know Raising Cane's?
No, no idea.
It's a fast food chain from the States that originated in Louisiana, I think. And they are a very, very simple, they have a very, very simple restaurant concept. They do chicken tenders. They don't do chicken sandwiches. Their menu is super, super small. They only have chicken fingers made from chicken tenders, Texas toast, coleslaw, and sauces. And then sort of like fountain drinks and stuff like that. That's it. But the chicken is super, super tasty. And like, I went there the first time when I was in Texas. And I went there like early morning, like 11:30, and I didn't really expect very much. And I really fucking enjoyed my meal. I was like, what? I was super surprised to go into a fast food place and enjoy it so, so much. Everything was piping hot, super nicely seasoned, like Texas toast, really nicely toasted. But then, it like stayed in my mind, and I was like, oh, but maybe that was because I was in the States, I was like local, but this year, actually, I had a layover in Saudi Arabian airport, and I walked through this like airport, and there's a Raising Cane's, and I was like, oh, cool, like I'll just get some chicken, and again, it was super, super delicious.
Nice. Well, my
Yeah.
top 3 is not as sophisticated as yours. Well, the first dish it is, or the number 1 in my list. This would be Untitled, which is a restaurant that already closed at the Whitney Museum in New York City. And the chef was Evan Tesler. And this was like a perfect, like perfectly crispy and juicy fried chicken. It came with a sauce that it reminded me of ají dulce, which is like a non-spicy chili from Venezuela. It had like this lacto fermented flavor, the sauce that came to it. And yeah, this was just amazing. I remember it was the best thing I had that day, or the thing I remember the most from that museum. I spent the whole day on a museum, and I just remember the fried chicken. The second one, it would be like a friend's mother would from Austria would make like chicken schnitzel sandwiches, super plain sandwiches, just a fried chicken fillet with the basic stuff you would put like in a sandwich, like mayonnaise, mustard, and some salad. That's just, I think it's just the best thing to make a sandwich of. And the third one, I think it would be Arturo's. I always remember those fried chicken from this restaurant chain. It would came with a coleslaw salad with yogurt and some pieces of pineapple, which was also great. Yeah. Which would you say are the rules for a good fried chicken?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's really difficult, no? Because it's kind of like, it's like at what point is, chicken that you fried chicken, right? You're talking about like chicken schnitzel, which I, would consider, a fried chicken for sure. And it's like a staple, no? Like a chicken schnitzel sandwich at like, especially like for me, it's like makes me think of like train stations in Germany or like airports, you like grab something on the go. But like, yeah, it's kind of like, for me, it has to have a coating, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It has to have it has to be coated in something. You can't just take a piece of chicken and deep fry it and call it fried chicken. It has to be coated. In the Western sort
and
of,
I would go
thing,
further. I would say it has to be like a crispy coating. I mean, like some sort of kitchen tempura wouldn't count for me as fried chicken, would it? I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's because it's kind of like, it's sort of like there's so many like versions of, especially like in Asia, where something's fried and then tossed in sauce. right? And then it doesn't become crispy anymore. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. You know, I mean, think of sort of like sweet and sour, like twice cooked pork or twice cooked chicken, you know, in Chinese cooking, where they deep fry it first and then they toss it again in sauce.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
deep fried, but it's glazed and it's kind of soggy. So it's like, is that fried? I don't know. That's up for debate, I would say.
Yeah. Well, let's narrow it down to crispy coated fried chicken, and let's say that's the topic we're talking about.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that. But like that's the cool thing about it, because from there, you know, you can take it so many directions. I mean, okay, if we talk about like what I feel like is a must for fried chicken, I think fried chicken needs to be either brined or marinated for sure.
Okay.
You know, that's really what makes good fried chicken. Also, the two can be combined, I think. It needs to get, you know, coated in starch. So in like Western cooking is usually flour. It's you know, either a flour dredge, or you know, you make a slurry and then coat it in flour, or it's, you know, breadcrumbed and fried. Or in, you know, in Asia, it's you know, the simple starches, you know, cornstarch or potato starch, you know, which result, you know, a more sort of like crisp, crackling, and more like delicate coating. And then those can be combined, you know. And then obviously like the seasoning. I feel like fried chicken, it needs to get, I don't know, you know, I have trouble thinking of fried chicken that's not doused in sort of like a spice powder, you know. But then that being said, you know, Raising Cane's, they don't season their chicken with anything. Through my extensive fried chicken research, I found out how they brine their chicken at Raising Cane's, which is very interesting, because apparently they make a brine with adding MSG to the brine.
Okay.
And so they brine it overnight in this like salt and MSG brine mixture, and then they just simply flour it and fry it, and results, because they only use the tenderloin, right, which is the, as we both know, the, you know, strip underneath the chicken breast, which is extremely tender, as the name which suggests. You get this super juicy, flavorsome umami chicken, right?
Have you tried using buttermilk in the brine?
Yeah, for sure. I am a big fan of buttermilk or sour cream. So the way that I make fried chicken, I do like a marinade brine combined, where I mix the chicken with a dairy component, which is either buttermilk or sour cream, something lactic, with lactic acid. I also add citric acid to it, usually like lemon juice, or often also, if not citric acid, I add some like distilled white vinegar. And I already add salt into the mix, together with like, you know, whatever you want, crushed black pepper, some garlic, you know. I'm actually a big fan of adding rosemary and like green jalapenos, just sliced into the marinade. And all that, what that does is sort of like, it really, really like tenderizes the chicken, and gives it like a lot of flavor. And like, I don't know, for me, that's just a must do when you do chicken. You know, I feel like all that part of the preparation is sort of like making this sort of like very simple thing into something super delicious.
Yeah, koji would work perfectly in a marinade like the one you're describing.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, speaking about like karage earlier, you know, I mean, soy sauce has the same effect, no? Like you add soy sauce to something, it's basically like a brine, but also a marinade, you know, and a flavor, direct flavor enhancer.
And which pieces of the chicken you say are the best?
I mean, I have to go with chicken thigh.
Yeah,
right?
me too.
Like,
I mean, chicken fillet is something
so,
completely different, like a schnitzel or something like that. You would do that with the
yes.
fillet, but I think when we talk about fried chicken, it has to have a bone, right?
Oh, you think so? Really?
I mean, if we talk like about American fried chicken, no?
I mean, yeah, kind of. I feel like this is a whole another sort of like level of the debate, right? This is like, yeah, no, because sort of like bone on fried chicken, obviously, I feel like it's more classic. If you like divide the chicken, you know that sort of like way of dividing a chicken where you get like, what is it, 10 pieces?
Yeah,
Um,
then this is
yeah,
typical fried chicken restaurants.
exactly. Where you do like also divide the breast, sort of leaving the breast pieces on the rib cage, and then just kind of cutting through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, like cooking on the bone, like with any meat, it gives you a much sort of like juicier chicken. Um, but I don't know, man. I'm about the boneless. I'm about that boneless life. Just like my just like my relationship, man. Um, yeah, no, I don't know. I like but I think that it's because I'm so into like chicken sandwiches. I
Well,
think sort of like chicken sandwiches has to be thigh, and if you do like fingers, it has to be like breast and tenderloin, right?
I also have to say one of the best uh, things in life is chicken wings without the bone. You can eat them like popcorns.
Yeah, yeah. There's just something so enjoyable about just like sinking your teeth into a boneless chicken wing. It's kind of like honestly, if you think about it, it's kind of like a Mugaritz approach, right? Because you look at it and you think there's bones inside, but actually the joy of being able to bite inside of it without the bones is so satisfying.
They had like a boneless chicken wing dish, just with an
Really?
egg yolk sauce. Yeah, back in 2005, I remember. It also had like
Oh, there you go.
something else, like a garlic marinade or something.
There you go. Straight from the States.
So then we have marinade, cuts. Well, the I think that the whole bread mixer is by itself a channel for whatever you want to do with it. You can pick different flours or breads or even spices or dried herbs. So like there are like endless combinations there. Have you ever tried
Yeah.
putting like some kind of, I don't know, baking powder or this kind of things to the breading mixer?
I haven't actually. No, I haven't. I mean, I've seen it in recipes, but I haven't actually done that. I usually go with a mixture of sort of like half regular flour and then half simple starches, usually a mixture of cornstarch and potato starch. And I found that I get the best results if you take some of this like seasoned flour mixture and then you mix it with a little bit of the marinade. You make a slurry. You take your marinated chicken, drench it through that slurry, and then add it into the flour, because then you get those really wavy, crackly bits when you fry it.
Yeah, you want it to be clumpy, right? Like when you're
Yeah,
making the breading, you don't want it to be clean like with a croqueta. You want to be clumps there because that is just pure crispiness once it's fried.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. For me, it's kind of like, yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult thing to say because I also really love like a panko breaded, piece of chicken that in itself has a completely different appeal, because it's just like this solid, crispy, like crust. But the other one, this like flour dredge um, technique, it just gives you this like really wild texture with these like really, really crisp sort of clumps. That, yeah, I mean, they're iconic. They're kind of what makes fried chicken in a way, I think. What do you think about so, I mean, are you familiar with Nashville fried chicken?
Nashville fried chicken. I don't think I am.
So, I mean, like places like, very, very well known in the States, for example, it's like Howling Rays, who, are famous for their fried chicken. And they make fried chicken sandwiches and just regular fried chicken. But the thing is that usually you have a mixture of spices and fat that the chicken, after it gets fried, then gets dunked into. And it's basically coated in this fat and spice mixture. And for a lot of people, that is the way of doing it in the sort of modern fried chicken movement. There's actually a really amazing place that started during lockdown in New York called the Pecking House, which is a former, you should really check it out. It's a former sous chef from 11 Madison Park who during lockdown started selling fried chicken. And he has a little bit more of like a Chinese approach to it, but making it in the Southern way. So he'll make like a spice and chili mix, and he makes fried chicken, but like a little bit more like elevated. So he'll take this like traditional Southern approach of the super hot fat like oil, but instead he'll use duck fat with like Chinese spices and chili. And it's like, you just check it out. He has a lot of videos and stuff like that. He talks about the process of how he does it. And I find it super fascinating because again, this again is a subject where it's something really so simple. It's a fried chicken, it's a piece of chicken that you process in a way and then you deep fry it, right? But there's so much intricacy to it. It can just be a piece of fried chicken, or it can be something that you eat and kind of makes you stop a little bit and you just think, fuck, that's so delicious, I feel like a lot of people are moving away from like high-end fine dining and like are putting the same sort of like attention to these sorts of things that are just like very passionate about and have a sort of like emotional connection to from their childhood and stuff also.
So to conclude, if we were to open like a fried chicken restaurant, let's say we already have the perfect fried chicken. That aside, how would that place be? Which sauces, which drinks? How would you imagine like a perfect fried chicken restaurant?
If I imagine my perfect fried chicken restaurant, I would want to keep it very, very like straightforward and simple. Like I would concentrate on making a really, really good fried chicken sandwich with really good ingredients and like a really amazing preparation. I would have a couple of like sides. I think you have to have coleslaw, right? You have to have coleslaw.
You have to, yeah.
I would like, you have to have coleslaw. You have to have fries. I think you have to have fries. Me personally, I'm a big fan of crinkle cut fries.
Crinkle cut fries, which are
crinkle cut fries? Yeah, the ones that are wavy,
Ah, like,
yeah.
I would use like Amsterdam style fries. The thick ones, really orange and crispy. Really good.
Oh yeah, man, that was a good fries. Talking about fries should be a whole different episode.
A whole episode, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but if I imagine just like Ronald, like if I imagine my perfect fried chicken restaurant, it's kind of like what makes fried chicken good. It's kind of like just keeping it simple and just like make it the sort of place you could go any other day. Just sort of like grab it and go, but make it like wholesome. Make it something that's also that's just really like nourishing for satisfying you, but also for feeding you.
No, absolutely. And well, when it comes to drinks or desserts, I wouldn't go crazy. I would have like regular soft drinks and beers and just like standard desserts, like nothing crazy.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not even sure I would put a dessert on, like maybe like a vanilla ice cream shake or something, like a milkshake or something.
Yeah, like a tiramisu or a chocolate mousse, like something really basic and standard, just if someone wants a sweet bite as well,
For sure. That being said, I always dreamed of having a soft serve ice cream machine. That you just do one cool flavor a day, like, I don't know, like salted caramel soft serve or like something, just like something nice. Just kind of like on the go, but those things are real pain in the ass to maintain and to clean. They always give you problems. but I just love those things.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome.
I guess that's why at McDonald's they're always out of the soft serve. It's always broken.
So, what are we talking on our next episode?
So next we're talking about cultural appropriation in food, in kitchens, and in gastronomy in general.
Okay, perfect. See you then.
All right, see you then.